Hey everyone, we are back, and today we are going to discuss the product requirements document for our new application that we will be getting started on shortly. I'm going to go over the fundamentals of a product requirements document and why it is important to at least get a bare bones document in place before beginning the work on your application. So let's go ahead and jump into it right now. Today, we're going to cover the importance of clarity and why we should actually be generating a product requirements document before we start building, some questions to answer about our application, and the PRD components. And if you stick around till the end and you look in the notes here, I will be showing this PRD and actually sharing the template for it. So you can go ahead and just plug this into your platform of choice to have it generated for you. And the hints I'm going to give you are going to make it super easy and straightforward for you to start chatting and actually developing this product requirements document quickly. What is clarity? Why do we need clarity? Well, when we're starting to develop a new application, the clarity we give the application on the front end leads to exponential returns of better output on the back end. So clarity comes in the form of clear requirements, clear instructions, and generally just a relevant context that you would want to give to any of your team members. If you were actually starting to build out something and you had an engineering and design team, what context, what business knowledge would they need to know before they were able to start developing? And that is the kind of thing that we want to be able to give our code editing or generating tools, because the more clarity we give them out for upfront, the better output we are going to get on the other side. Just to be super specific here, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be using tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity. There are lots of other tools out here that we're essentially chatting with. And we are using these tools to generate a product requirements document. And you'll see it's very straightforward once I get into it. I'll show you here in just a minute. But we'll be using other tools on the back end. Particularly, we're going to try Bolt for this application. But there are lots of other options that can generate the actual code or the application given the PRD as an input. So what we are doing today is an input to the application. We are not going to be building the application today. We're going to simply be building the input to it. What are some of the questions that we want to answer in our product requirements document? Number one is we want to prompt AI to dig deep and ask follow-up questions of its own. And some of the questions that we should answer or we should have AI ask us, either way, is what problem are we solving? What is the goal? Who are the primary users? What kinds of actions should they take? What kind of data does the application need? And I like to try to answer them myself and then spit them out to the AI, but you can also just tell the AI to ask you, and they will ask you these questions in order. So you can, go through and speak into your phone or into your application, or you could type out the answers, whatever works for you. I want to give you one hint is to always define standards for the AI and tell it what to do up front. Always have them use numbered or lettered lists. Never tell, and it's redundant, but don't tell them to never use an unordered bulleted list, and to only make one point or ask one question per list item. Now, why am I telling you this? And this is so impactful, because what AI will do is it will come back with 18 bullet points of questions for you. And it is very messy. It is like getting to like spaghetti code when you are trying to answer the questions for 18 bullet points. You are saying bullet point 4 does not relate to bullet point 7 and et cetera, et cetera. And you're going down this daisy chain of confusion. I like to keep this principle even in when I'm giving presentations at any time, but always using numbered or ordered lists anywhere that I can, and not using bullets at all if possible, because it's really impossible when you're texting back and forth with someone and they give you a bulleted list with, I'm using the number 18 points or 18 questions about things, and one thing doesn't even relate to the other, and then you have to try to tell it to go back in time. So just tell the AI up front. If you even see bullets, correct it, and also ask them to add it to your memory that you never want to see bulleted lists. You always want numbered lists, and you want them to only ask or address one question per list item. So what are the components of the PRD? And we're going to show a real example here in just a minute. But the main components of a PRD, and this is not like all inclusive, nor do you even have to have all of these necessarily. You could start out with less than this, so do not feel like you have to have everything. But you should have a product name, a summary, the problem you're solving or the goals, the users who are using the platform, key screens and logic. We're going to actually dive deeper into that in our next session. But you should at least have an idea of what screens are needed, even if you just type out the titles of those screens. Technical considerations, brand considerations, and success metrics. All right, so we're going to do a couple of call outs on technical considerations and brand considerations. Again, I'm telling the AI to define, I'm defining my standards for the AI. And I mostly want to make these ubiquitous across all conversations, but however you choose to do it is how you choose to do it. And if you're developing multiple applications, maybe you have different environments. I don't know. But you should you should try to be telling it what language you're going to be writing this in, if you know that, or if you have one, what environments you're looking at working with. So example, if you're in AWS or GCP, you want to tell it that, what databases it will be using. Do not put your sensitive information in here, but just generally, and what models you want it to use if you're using AI. So you would want to reference, let's say we're using 4.0, and you would want to tell it that in advance. If you do not, you are going to end up with some potentially weird results, right? If you are let's say that you're a .NET developer and it starts spitting out Python to you, that is not cool. But it didn't know, right? It's going to go with whatever's the most common language that it thinks needs to be used. Branding. This is why we went through the exercise of our branding templates before, and you just need to regurgitate those and pull them out of the folder that you made a few days ago. Always tell them to use your brand guidelines, which is going to include your fonts, your colors, your contrast, your logos, okay? If you do not, it is going to come up with some brand of its own, and you don't know what it's going to be. But it's much easier to tell it upfront what to do rather than waiting until after the fact and then trying to change all your styles and all your colors on the back end. All right, I'm going to pull up my yield cover PRD, and we are not going to go into this in detail. I have spent many hours just chatting with the AI to develop this. So it is several pages long at this point. You can see I have my product name, my tagline, my product goals, which include my farmer goals and my insurance agent goals, my constraints, personas, key screens. We're going to again get into that. All of that I have put into, in my case, a Word document. So I use Word documents or Google Docs, depending on the situation. One thing you are going to very likely want to do, or I do, in order to help the application development environment to thrive, is I convert this to Markdown. It is much easier for the machine to absorb it in Markdown than it is in a Word document. So we're going to talk about that real quickly here now. And I'm going to show you an example of a product requirements document template. Bear with me. And all right. What it is going to do is it is going to push everything into, apologies for this here. It's going to push everything into basically a text file. And I'm also including in this product requirements document template the description, the goals of what I want for the output to be, and then I am including all of the PRD structure. So I will put all of this information in a file in the show notes so that you can actually follow this. It's going to include some clarifying questions, which I already just talked about, but you could add more. And you could give the AI, if you want to give it to ChatGPT or Perplexity, which I'm going to do right now, it will help you to create that generic PRD right from scratch. So let's just go ahead and do that right now with Perplexity. Okay, we are starting from nothing. All right, all I am going to do now is I am going to tell it about the web application that we're building. And you already know this general information about my application and what it does because we went over this in the previous sessions. So when we were building out the brand and things like that, we were talking about what is our kind of executive summary of what we're building. What I did was I copied and pasted what I'm trying to build and you can see it's like about 5 sentences. And then I'm saying, give me a draft of the PRD and prompt me with intuitive follow-up questions. And then I am giving it the PRD template directly from here, okay? I'm copying and pasting this. I can just do it right now. Copying and pasting this into Perplexity. And we're going to see what it comes back with. All right, so great. It is already, from those 5 sentences, it's already come back with my executive summary, my product goals, my business goals, my scope, my personas, my screens. It's actually pretty, it's pretty close, right? It's not spot on, but you can see where it starts. It's added some things I think that are not in my document, but definitely this is an amazing start. So now what I can do 2 things. I can start reading through this and correcting it and saying in section 3, executive summary, fix it. Or I can come down here where it has asked me intuitive follow-up questions and I can start answering these questions. You could go whatever order you want. I probably would answer the follow-up questions just because I could see them clearly on the screen and I could just start answering them one by one. And what it's going to do is when I say, I'll just say A, question 1, we'll just say corn, soybeans, wheat, please update PRD and give new, I don't need a new output. We'll just say, please update PRD. Okay. Now, hopefully, I am not a Perplexity expert here, so hopefully it will continue. Oh, it did not. It did not re-output my questions. So I do have to go back to that other chat in Perplexity, but you can ask it. You will learn depending on the tool. Again, I'm doing this because it's really a blank slate. I'm more of a OpenAI user for the most part, but you can go down this list of questions and just get them answered, knock them out in under 10 minutes, and you're going to have a decent PRD. All right, now that we know why we should be creating the PRD and the clarity that it offers, we're going to go into actually designing the flows for some of our screens. We'll take the information from the PRD. We're going to extrapolate that into screens, and I'm going to show you a couple of tools you can use in addition to just using a whiteboard. I have a whiteboard right behind me, and that is just as good as everything else. And we will go ahead, I shouldn't say it's as good as everything else, but you get the idea. We will use that as also as part of our input next time into our application building tool. So get ready for that. See you next time.